My name's Tom Scaglione, and I'm with Future Home Realty over in the West Chase office here in Tampa. I'm a native, born and raised right here in the Tampa area, grew up here all my life. I received the Realtor of the Year in 2012. I received several awards through the Greater Tampa Association of Realtors. One of them was for the Edward T. Starr Award, which is for long service in several committees that I've chaired over the years and contributions to that association. There's a lot more to real estate than just, listing your house and putting an ad somewhere and finding a buyer. The biggest challenge is making the public understand what we do for them in the real estate industry, because they all have a misconception of what we actually do and the services that we provide. The biggest problem I think that most people think is that we don't do anything. And I try to explain to most of my clients and to other newbies in the real estate business, because we do a lot of training in our office and so forth, that the easy part of real estate is selling a house or finding a house for a buyer. The hardest part is getting it closed. That's when the real work starts. That's the hours upon hours of dealing with the third-party vendors, the inspectors, the mortgage companies, the appraisers, and so forth. And that's where the real work starts. And the average person doesn't know how to deal with those folks. When I first heard about SavvyCard, I was excited, to be quite honest with you, because I had been looking for something to get into the mobile side of the internet or the web or the cloud that everybody calls it today. I saw the potential there for the real estate industry that was just out of sight, because it allowed me to then reach those mobile users that, as I said, NAR statistics say that 90% of the public out there are accessing Facebook and the internet and doing web searches on their mobile devices. So I find it very, very useful. Well, SavvyCard is a completely different platform, because basically SavvyCard is a mobile website. And today, when 90% of the people are looking for houses, are using their cell phones or their tablets when they're out in the field to find properties, you need to be mobile compatible. So I'm using it primarily as a mobile website. I'm using it on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Google+. I'm posting it not only in my personal pages, but I'm posting it in my my 4 other Facebook business pages, and I'm getting some good reaction from it. I got to tell you that I'm not a fan of Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com. So your inventory is your listings, and they're valuable. They're worth money. I mean, JCPenney or Sears is not going to give their inventory away, and that's what Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, they want our inventory to sell advertisements to third-party vendors. So they're making money off of our inventory, and then they're coming back to us and saying, I want to sell you the professional version of this so that you can garner your leads. Well, they're my leads in the first place, and they're really hurting the industry, and they're hurting their own business practice. I want to tell you the difference between searching using my SavvyCard versus searching using Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com. What my SavvyCard is connected to is the back end of my MLS. Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com, there are things on those sites that are out of date. Could be 2 days, could be 3 days, could be a week. Whereas if you're searching from my SavvyCard, you're actually seeing an active back end to my MLS, which means that everything there is true to its particular status. It's either active, it's under contract, or it's expired, or whatever the case may be. So it's just a more accurate database for you to search for your house. One of the things that I have found over the years is buyers will go to Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and do a search, and they send me an email about even my listing. And unfortunately, on those sites, wherever my listing is, there's other advertisement around my listing. There's even other real estate agents' advertisement around my listings. Whereas if I share my SavvyCard with them and they do a listing search on SavvyCard, there are no advertisements there. Only my information is there. I'm the one that's recommending who to call for the mortgages, and I'm the one who's recommending who to call for different vendors and so forth, which keeps me in the center of the transaction. There are many apps out there. Even our MLS has an app where you can search for listings in the field and get information. But it's a situation that apps are much slower than the internet web is, and SavvyCard is back in the cloud basically, and has the connection right to my MLS, and I can actually do a search on SavvyCard and get results within seconds. Whereas if I do a search on the app, it takes sometimes a minute to get it back. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but when you're with a customer in the field and they say, how come that house wasn't on my list? And you need to pull it up so that you can show them it's either not 4 bedrooms or it's not in their price range. You need to be able to do it quickly, and that's why I use SavvyCard instead of any of the apps that I used to have on the phone. In 2015, my entire marketing plan is based around SavvyCard. I'm not doing any other marketing because I found that the results that I'm getting from the SavvyCard are worth the effort to use it as my main marketing tool. There's a rental company in my market. There's an agent there that I've met in classes that I've taught at GTAR or other classes that we've been in together. So I sent him my SavvyCard. I guess I sent it to him maybe 6 months ago. I've already closed one deal that he's referred to me, and I just received another deal that he's referred to me that I'll probably close in a month or so. So you get results from sharing that card. It puts your name and your face in front of people. It keeps your brand alive, and we're all about branding today. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. The other use that I find it is just, I'm very happy about. Somebody calls me off my sign, says, I'm sitting in front of your listing at such and such an address. Can you give me a little information? I know that they have called me from their cell phone. So I immediately text them my property card for that listing. Now they have the information directly on their mobile device, has information about the property, has all the photos of the property, has all the schools for that particular address, plus it has the ratings for those schools. That's important to a buyer. Each of the properties that I have listed have their own individual SavvyCard that is a property card with the information that I just mentioned about the schools and the photos and the features of the house and so forth. And each one of those cards not only has that information, but it also has all of my contact information. So if they have additional questions, they can call me, text me, email me right from the card. One of the things that I like about SavvyCard is that it's a true branding of Tom Scaglione, ePro SFR Realtor. Okay, there's no other branding there. There's no advertisement from a mortgage company. There's no advertisement from another real estate company and so forth like you find on the major portals. So basically it allows me to really brand myself. No different than Coca-Cola brands themselves and GE brands themselves and so forth, because that's what we're all about today is branding. The marketing tool that it is allows me to share it not only with Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, and Google+. It allows me to share it with my entire database, even my past clients, okay? It allows me to share it with other real estate agents. And you say, why would you share your SavvyCard with other real estate agents? Well, I post this on some of the groups that I belong to in LinkedIn and Facebook and so forth, because those groups are nationwide. And we're talking about the ability to receive a referral. We're in a referral business. That's what real estate is all about, is a referral business. I get referrals from past clients. Well, it's easier for them to refer me if they have a SavvyCard they can share with who they're going to refer me to, because now those people have my face, my brand, my contact information. They don't have to look it up. They don't have to remember it, so forth. And then every time somebody shares my SavvyCard, I get analytics as to it was shared, the date it was shared, who it was shared to, and in most cases, they'll put the contact information for who they shared it to as well, which allows me to do a follow-up. When I do some postcards, the front of that postcard has my screen capture of my SavvyCard page, my opening page of SavvyCard. Next to that, I have a graphic of a house with a question mark that just says text agent 2000 to 72889. What does that mean? That means that anybody that I send that card to, if they text that number, agent 1000 to that number, they get my SavvyCard. That's kind of how I use the tool to market myself and brand myself. And I have the analytics that are on the back end of SavvyCard that tells me how many times it's been shared, and my ability then to follow up with those people that it's been shared to. I like to empower my buyers to complete their goal and meet their needs in finding a new home. I had a brand new buyer that I got just the other day send me 9 listings that he found on Trulia. Out of the 9 listings, 6 were already under contract. And so I only had the 3 that I could show him. I immediately sent him my SavvyCard, told him to use the search button, the search tab on the SavvyCard to do the search, and guess what? Every listing he emailed me after that was actively on the market. So it shortened my time and his time to find a property that we put under contract within 3 days. 3 days after I sent him my SavvyCard. When I sit down at a listing presentation, I go through my typical listing presentation, what their house is worth and so forth and so on. And then I show them some of my marketing tools, tell them all about my internet marketing and so forth, and basically show them a property card on one of my listings that I already have, and explain how that property card works, that it has all the photos of their house, it has all the features that we've listed in the MLS in their feature list, it has all the schools there for the information for people that are moving to a new area, looking for schools. It gives them the ratings of the schools and so forth. When I show people this information, they're impressed. When I show them a property card and say, now I'm going to send you this property card and you can share it with your family, your sphere of influence, your neighbors, whoever you want to, what does that do for me? That means that it is putting my name and my services out in front of many, many more people than just putting a listing ad somewhere on a newspaper or Facebook or whatever the case may be. What does it mean to the seller? It means to the seller they're getting far more exposure to their property, because I not only use those property cards for that reason, I post them in my social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google Plus, and etc. One of the things that I find is when I'm showing them the property card, they get excited about it because they've never seen anything like that. The average real estate agent out there is not real technical, and so they're coming with the standard printouts from the MLS and so forth. I come with a PowerPoint presentation, and I come with the SavvyCard property card, and quite frankly, they say, well, nobody else is doing that. I said, that's why you need to list with me. One of the other things I want to talk about the SavvyCard is the ability to refer my service vendors to my clients and to other people. SavvyCard has a button on there that's called recommendations. In that recommendations button, I put all the different vendors that I use, mortgage brokers, inspectors, plumbers, wind mitigation inspectors, things of that nature. And I can actually send them that particular vendor's SavvyCard, which then says that it comes from me. And when that person receives it, they know that I've given them service beyond what most other realtors can do. It just makes me appear to be more on top of things, more professional, the ability to have a network of people that I use and that I trust, that they can then trust. Once they've got that, and they've actually used that vendor, and their sister down the block or in another part of the city needs a plumber, and they use the plumber I sent them, they can actually share that same vendor card with that sister. And now that sister not only has that vendor's information, but they have my information, so that if it just is it's kind of a silent portal for me to find new clients and customers without having to physically know them. I think that's important. I actually use SavvyCard to help me close my business and deals faster than I used to be able to do that. And that's because I have everything in one place. Understand that in my SavvyCard, there's a section in there called SavvyDecks. I can put in SavvyDecks all the people that I need to get in touch with, so that I don't have to scroll through my contacts to find their phone numbers and so forth. I go to my SavvyDecks and I click on their card and I hit the call button and I'm immediately in touch with them. My mortgage guy, my inspector, the guy that's doing the repairs on the particular property for one of my clients and so forth. So it really helps me organize my entire business into one place, kind of like a CRM, but it's strictly geared to what my business is, what my vendors are, or who my vendors are, and the ability to contact them and immediately recommend that they contact somebody and so forth. So it just helps in that realm as well. We know that there's a lot of brokers that don't address technology in their offices, and that they leave it up to somebody in their office that has a good technical background and so forth. But it's so important for them to understand that it's a tool that will help to grow their business. It's a tool that will help their agents grow their business. And with the correct training and showing them how to use that tool, they're going to increase their sales every year, because they're able to then share this information by text or email very easily, or by social media, by putting a link to their card on their social media, or even putting a link to their card on their corporate websites. And most of these companies have find an agent on their sites, so every agent in their office can have a link next to their name that allows somebody to get their SavvyCard. So I think that they're missing the opportunity here to grow their business fairly easily and to brand themselves fairly easily.